Today, we're going to talk about part 2 of why you are getting rejected during the job search process. Okay, so last week, we talked about what happens if you're getting rejected during the application process. So that means you're not even getting any interviews. So if you missed that one, pop on over to YouTube and go look for the video from last week on why you're not getting the jobs, part 1. Part 2, today we're going to talk about if you are getting interviews but not moving forward in the interview process. Okay, so now, first thing I'm going to tell you is when you are going on the interview, and I want you to hear this because this is important, it's going to make you feel good and give you that confidence you need. So when you go on the interview, they know that you can do the job. They have seen your resume, they know your work history, they know your education, they've read your cover letter, they see your passion, they know you can do the job. Now it's a matter of selling it, right? If they didn't think you could do the job, they would not even have you there for the interview. Why? Well, because they're not going to waste their time, right? It takes time to interview people. So they know that you can do the job. So now here's the next thing. It's a matter of convincing them you can do the job. So how do you go forward and convince them that you can do the new job? Especially if you are looking to make a pivot in your career, transition to something else, return to the workforce. Okay, first thing is you research. You know everything. You research that job posting. The job posting is your cheat sheet. They are saying to you very directly, hey, Cindy, we want somebody who can do these things. Can you do these things? Okay, great. Now, I know that you applied to the job because you were like, hey, I can do those things, or I can do most of those things. Super. But it's not enough to just say, yes, I can do this, and to answer in one-word answers, okay? Yes, I've done that. Yes, I did this here. Yes, I did this thing. The idea is to give examples and stories, relevant stories, always positive stories, showing that you have done every single thing that you've done that they're asking for on the job posting. So what your requirement to do to prepare for these job interviews is to look at everything that they're asking for and come up with stories, okay, and examples of when you have done those things, what the positive outcomes would be, and then practice telling those stories out loud. Yeah, I know it feels really awkward and weird to sit around and talk to yourself. Look at me, to sit around and talk to yourself. But that's how you're going to get better at it. That's how you're going to be able to talk succinctly, to the point, without rambling, because it's much easier to just sit there and write an answer, right? Oh, okay. I can give an example of this. I can give an example of that. But to have to tell it out loud, especially when you're nervous, is much more difficult. So practice telling these stories out loud. Okay, so that's the first bit of research, is the job posting. Second bit of research, your actual resume. Be able to speak confidently about everything in your resume and what you've done. But here's the key. Not everything that you've done in your work history is going to be relevant to this job. So when you are highlighting your work experience, you want to focus on the parts of your work that are relevant to this job. Not everything that you've done, but the parts that are relevant to this particular job. Because if you keep focusing on other parts of the job that have no relevance to this job, they're not going to be able to visually see you in this position. Makes sense, right? Okay. Now, next thing you want to research is the actual company, which means know more about them than just what is posted on, on the job posting. Go to their website, read about them. What is their mission? What are their goals? Who's their niche? Who's their target audience? Who is their competition? Have they been in the news, in the media lately? What are they doing? Do they have any plans public for the next 3-5 years? Where do you see that industry going in the next 3 to 5 years? So having that knowledge will allow you to impress the interviewer on many different levels. Number one, that you did the work, that you've done the homework, that you've put in the effort, right? That this job is important to you. Number two, it will allow you to be able to speak intelligently on questions because you'll know what they're all about. It'll be able to ask intelligent questions because you know about the company, so you'll be able to ask something meaningful. So I want you to do all those things. And then the next thing I want you to do is I want you to start preparing for those behavioral-based questions. Tell me about a time when, right? So it's not what would you do if you had to deal with a difficult colleague or coworker, customer, whatever, because we can all answer that question, and say, oh, well, if I had to deal with somebody, this is what I could do. Great, we'd all get that one right. But what's much more important is, how did you really do it, right? What really happened? How are your communication skills in real life? How are your problem management skills in real life? How did you handle that? And then what was the positive result, right? Did you need administration? Did you need management to come in? Or were you able to successfully handle that conflict all by yourself, right? Makes a huge difference in hiring somebody. So there are so many behavioral-based questions. Honestly, there are hundreds and hundreds of questions that they can ask you on any interview, which is why it's always important to understand going in, what is important for this job? What are they looking for me for this job? And as you answer each and every question, keep that in mind. What is important for this job? How will I convince them that I'm the right person for this job? What examples, what stories, what should I talk about to show that I'm right for this job? Okay, now, if you are going on multiple interviews, the levels of preparation gets more intense, right? You're expected to know more. Oftentimes you have a project, something to do before then. You're meeting with higher up people. You may go from a simpler HR interview to go to meet with the people you've actually been working with. So then the technology terms, the actual specifics of what you're doing come more into play. Okay, they're also looking for consistency in your answers. That are you the same person on interview 1 that you were on interview 4? Okay, and yes, most of my clients go on 3 or 4 interviews at the same company before getting an offer from that company. And I've had many clients who've gone on as many as 6 interviews at the company before getting an offer from that company. And I know that's very controversial, but every single one of my clients who has gone through that many interviews at the company, in the end was so grateful that they went through that, because the job was so worth it when they got it. Okay. So to wrap this up, to review for you, make sure that you can speak about everything on your resume. Make sure that you know about the company. Make sure that you can talk about everything on that job posting. And always, always, always keep this specific job posting in mind. That's what's going to be important. Your answers for the same questions are going to change depending on whose chair you're sitting in. Okay. Oh, and by the way, show excitement, show enthusiasm, show passion, and smile. Okay. So this was part 2 of our series. Go back and watch part 1. Part 3 is going to be next week on why you're getting those job search rejections. I hope this has been super helpful for you, and I'll catch you the next time. Bye-bye. Subscribe to my channel for more actionable steps to help you out in your job search. I hope you have a super productive day. Always remember you're a warrior. I'll catch you the next time. Watch some more videos of mine for more help in your job search.